Got it. Everyone should get a pop-up that says this message is being recorded. Just so if you have a friend or neighbor that isn't able to join the call, or if you want to go back and review some of the things that Marianne's going to cover today, we will post this video on the Penn Brook website or in Principal Mars this week, so you can go back and review. But the purpose of today's meeting, we'll be here for around the next hour, is to take you through some of the basics of Google Classroom, which is our learning management system. So if you hear Google Classroom, Learning Management System, or LMS, those are all the exact same things. So we'll go through Google Classroom and what parents need to know in order to help their children access everything that they need to access for school and for remote learning as we get started in the next couple days. The one thing that I want to mention is teachers are going to be posting just about everything that's needed for your children into Google Classroom. So if you think that you don't have something that you need, if you want to know what's going on with your child in terms of what their assignments are or what grades they've received or what feedback they've gotten, everything should be accessed through Google Classroom. We want that to be our one-stop shop. So we're hoping to cut down on all the different emails that our teachers have to answer. We're going to try to head off a lot of those things from the get-go. So Google Classroom will kind of be your go-to spot. Just in terms of running the meeting, you'll notice that you're all muted right now and you're unable to unmute yourself. That's just to keep everything nice and clean and so we can keep the focus on Marianne without any distractions. If you do have a question as Marianne is going through, you can use the chat feature in Zoom to send Marianne Fravel a personal message. You should have the option to send myself, Colin McDonald, or Marianne questions at the moment. So you can send those questions over to Marianne as she goes through the presentation of what you'd like to learn more about in Google Classroom, or if you'd like her to go back and show something again, you can do that. Last thing, and then I'm going to pass it off to Marianne, I promise. I've talked too much already. I am right in the middle of getting all of the devices ready for pickup tomorrow. So if you're on this call and you've requested a device, I sent you an email on Friday afternoon that they're ready tomorrow morning to be picked up. So I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to get all of those iPads up and running and charged and ready to go. So I might be in and out of this meeting. I'll still have the meeting up and running, but if you don't see me, just know that I'm hard at work getting all of these devices ready for kids tomorrow. So with that being said, I'll pass it off to Marianne. Marianne, I'm going to make you the host. You can share your screen and you can go from there.
Great, thanks, Colin.
Got
it. Okay. Will it tell me? Oh, there it goes. Okay, hi everyone. So I had a nice time outside this morning at the meet and greet. It was great seeing the kids. So I really liked talking to them and being out there with them. I was with 3rd and 4th grade today. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'll go to, okay. So I'm sharing my screen right now and I'm gonna kind of log out of all of this. And I just wanna show you how to log in. I'll start with logging in. So I always use Google Chrome and there's a couple of ways to log in. You can go to google.com. And I just have to move this over here because it's in my way. Okay, and then there's a waffle right here, and you can go to, if you have Gmail, or in this case, we're gonna do Classroom, of course, and Drive a little bit as well, and you might use your calendar. So when the students, what I recommend the students do, and what I do every morning, is that I open up my, my mail, my calendar, and Drive, and Classroom. And they might want to get in the habit of doing that as well. And each time you open something, it will open a tab up here. So I'm going to open Classroom since that's the focus of today. And some students like to get to it from, I have to keep moving this window, the Zoom window. Some students like to get to it by typing classroom.google.com, particularly the older students. Instead of using the waffle here, they just type classroom.google.com and if they were going to Drive, they'd go to drive.google.com, even mail.google.com. So it depends. There's a couple of different ways to do everything. So this is my classroom, and I have a lot of classes in my classroom. And your children will also have several classes. So they will have their teacher classroom here, and then they'll have some other classrooms from the specialists. So they'll have a music class, library, computer, phys ed, technology, and then they'll have one for me for Makerspace and Project Lead the Way. So they will have multiple classes depending on what they're doing that day or that part of the day. I created a sample class that we're going to go into now. Now, the question that I was asked most often in the spring, in March and April, was that students and parents couldn't necessarily find their classroom. And usually it was because they were logged on as a different user. So you always want to make sure you're logged in. And here it might have your picture, it might have just your first initial. You always want to make sure you're logged in as the correct student, so you're seeing their classroom, especially if you have multiple children using the same device. So you are going to want to make sure that you're logged in. You can always add another account if you need to add an account. You don't have to sign out of all accounts. So for instance, this is a classroom for my sample student, and then I can go here and you'll see that my picture changes here. I'm also in classroom as me as a teacher. So I have this classroom, I have two tabs open. This classroom is the student login, and then this one is mine, which we don't need right now, but I just thought I'd show you that. So you can have multiple people there and then just switch accounts. So when you go into Classroom, the tab that is of most concern to you is classwork. That's where everything is posted. However, there is a stream. So the stream is a place, it might show you if there are some upcoming deadlines for assignments. Anytime a teacher posts an assignment, it would appear in this stream. It's like a social hub. It's the running of anything that gets posted by the teacher. If the teacher chooses to have class comments, the students can also comment on things there. Students can ask questions, teachers can ask questions. So it's just like a running page of different things that are going on in class. So say you had to have a permission form due. So the teacher might just say, please make sure your field trip permission forms are in by Thursday or something like that. So that's just where there's a running stream of information. However, classwork is where the curriculum is, where the teachers put all of their curriculum. Now, most teachers use topics. So I have 3 topics here. One is called Makerspace Material. This would have questions that I ask my students. They're not assignments, they're just easy, short answer questions. And then you get to the assignments. And in the assignments, a teacher might have it listed by subject, and there will be assignments there. Now, materials are not things that you turn in. You don't turn them in, and you'll see that anything that a student has not looked at or opened is in orange. Anything that's been completed, like this letter writing assignment, I wanted you to see how one was completed. I wrote that letter, I completed the assignment, and it's grayed out. So grayed out items here are completed or you've looked at. Sometimes a teacher puts a due date and sometimes they don't. That's up to the teacher, whether some things need a due date or not. So anything, there's these different icons. So anything that's considered material is this like, it's like a little bookmark. So anything here, it's a resource for you. So it's a resource. So it might be the classroom link. It might be Makerspace rules. And this is not real. I just made this pretend. These are all pretend assignments that I made for today's class. So if I wanted the students to refer to the rules, you know, share, help each other, those are the rules, that it's in Google Docs, it opened it up, and then I can close it. But I know that they read it because it's gray. Same with the class link. So most teachers, I would imagine, all of the teachers here, have set up one classroom link that you would just click on every day. So that link would be there, and so they will know how, and the hours would be posted here. So that's another option. So those are the bookmarks. Those are the materials. So now I can go back to all topics. Questions. If a teacher asks a question, so again, this is just made up. What was your favorite summer activity? So this is a question and not a piece of material. So you would view the question, and you would just type your answer and turn it in. So material is not turned in, however, questions are turned in. And when it is turned in, the teacher will get it. You can see that it's been assigned. So you would type your answer, your favorite activity, and turn it in. So I will definitely say going to the beach and turn it in. And that's it. And the nice part is that you will know, I'm going to go back here to my classwork. You always want to look for classwork. So the question was done, and you can see if it was turned in. You can, let's see, I think you can do another, let's see, your answer. Oh, in this one, you can see your classmate answers. I don't have any classmates. There's only one student in this pretend class. So you can see your answer there. Here's classmate answers. If I had more class students in here, you would be able to see that. Okay, so I'm clicking here anytime I want to go back to, say, the home page, and you would go back to classwork. So assignments. So this is most of what you are going to be covering are assignments. Some assignments, like letter writing, this assignment has a document attached. It also has a rubric. So some of your teachers might have rubrics, so you can look at the criteria for this letter writing. So a rubric would look like this. If they put a date in, it's spelled correctly, they get 4 points on that. And if the date is missing, they get 1 point. Okay, so that's the rubric. The class letter would have a document attached. So right away, when you click on that, the student will click on that. They would type their letter. They would follow the instructions that the teacher posted. My computer's a little slow right now. And then they would, I don't know where so it's blank. So the student would start typing their letter. And so today is September. This is something the kids have trouble with when I was teaching this in computer class. So it's September 14th, 2020. So that's something, just by the way, that students either put the comma in the wrong place or no comma, or I don't know, the date is always a hard thing for students to learn to type. So that's something that we would practice. And then they would turn it in. So it goes immediately from classroom to the document, and then you would turn that in. And that's the way that works. I already turned one in. Now, this one, you might get an assignment, watch this video or read this PDF file, and then fill out this Google form, which answers questions about it. So you might get that kind. I tried to put one of each type of assignment. So you can view the assignment. You can watch this, but I did want to show you a Google form. So a lot of teachers are using these kind of like as a survey or for comprehension, like this one. So they would, anything that is starred is required. So students would type this in, what landform. I didn't actually watch this video. These are pretend. So you would answer these questions here and submit it. So you don't actually turn in this form, you just submit it. So your students might have that. Again, you want to make sure you're signed in as the correct student. And if it's not the correct student, you would switch accounts. So you will have opportunities for that. And that's it. So that's that assignment. You can attach something else. If a student wants to take a picture of something, they might want to add another file, like a picture, and I'm going to show you how to do that shortly. Okay, I'm going to go back to the sample class, the first screen, the home screen. Here's one, how does a GPS work? And I could view this assignment. You might get an assignment like this that says Ed Puzzle. So this assignment, I created an Ed Puzzle, and there are built-in questions. I stopped the video and put built-in questions throughout the actual video to learn about what a GPS is. So they would just open that up, click on one link, so you don't need the Google form. So it just depends on how the teacher crafts that assignment. They would watch the video and then questions would come up, like a multiple choice question. I think one question I have, is, let's see, I don't want to run the video, but here, maybe I'll run this one because I think I have a question pretty soon. What does GPS stand for? So they would listen to this, and then I kind of had fun putting these in so they could watch the video, and then the questions would be right built into Edpuzzle, and it's connected to Google Classroom. So that's another style of assignment that your student might have, depending on their grade level, of course. So we did this, build a fruit. So build your favorite, I can't access the screen. Okay. There are all these other windows on the screen blocking some of the commands. So build a fruit. This is a makerspace activity. Build your favorite fruit with Legos or a building set and see if a friend can guess what it is, the type of fruit it is. And then you can attach a picture. Now, before I show you how to attach the picture, I am going to go back to, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to stop sharing just in case there are questions, and I notice there are a few more people than I'm going to admit. Okay, let me look at the chat. So this is a good question. Will the parents see the rubric or just the teacher? So the students will see the rubric. It's attached to the assignment. So the students will see the rubric. And you can, as long as you're logged in as your student, you can view the rubric and the assignment. Okay. Assignments show up class. So the same assignments show up in classroom and in the stream. Yes. So the same assignments show up in the classroom area and in the stream. And that stream just keeps running down, and the most current assignments keep getting added to the top of that. Kathy, that's another good question. This looks different on an iPad. So if you have an iPad, I don't think it looks much different on an iPad. You have to use the app, the Classroom and the Drive app. So on here, I don't know if I could connect this, but there's the Classroom and the Drive app right here. So you would use those. I think it looks pretty much the same, but it says stream on the bottom and classwork, it's all at the bottom rather than the top. So it says stream, classwork, and you can still see the same thing. You just have to make sure you're logged in as the correct person. Let me see. Yeah, but I think it looks pretty much the same. I don't find that students have a problem going, at least for Classroom and Drive, going to an iPad from a computer. See if there's anything else. Oh, this is a good question. Can they jump ahead to do assignments for the week? If the assignments are posted, they could, but the teachers here were asked to post the assignments the night before. And I've been talking to a number of teachers who are going to post the assignments the night before. So the students will have those. But if the assignments are there, theoretically, they would be able to jump ahead and do assignments for the week if they were posted. Now, are first graders going to be expected to follow these workflows? First graders will follow some of them, I would imagine, and you can ask the teacher. That's the right person to ask about that. But keyboarding is really slow with the younger students. Okay, first, second, and then we start teaching keyboarding here, and that's actually a great thing to have your children practice as well. And you could contact their computer teacher. She has all their logins and everything for that. But their workflow will be different. I would imagine it's going to be more worksheets, things like that, worksheets and things to fill out and practice together. And remember, your teachers will all be on Zoom with your students leading the curriculum. They're not going to just be following classroom without the teacher being involved. So the expectations are suited to the grade level of the student. So yeah, I think this is challenging. So for the little kids, the kindergartners in first grade, and second even, it's a lot. But that's why the teacher will be there with them, and we'll practice all of these skills. If they do need a particular skill, we'll practice over and over. And I know I'm a guest in there sometimes in those classrooms, so I'll do that on Zoom. And so I'm not sure, I don't think the lower grades, they're not going to use it in the same way, clearly, as in the upper grade students. That's a good question. The difference between turn in and submit are the same things. So whether it says turn in or submit, and by the way, you can always, if it's before the due date, you can always unsubmit it and then work on it. So if you want to add something else, you can work on it and then resubmit it again. So that's another feature. If it's after the deadline, you'd have to have the teacher return it to the student because it's already been graded or it's past the deadline. And then the login information, yes, so the login information. That you should go to your teacher for. It's the same as previous years. So obviously kindergarten students don't have theirs yet. So I would go to your classroom teacher and you will get the logins on Wednesday morning. And and they will give a card. They're going to give you a card for how to log in. And you would have to help them log in, I think, for that. All of our logins end with, it's the year of graduation and letters of their name, and also they all end in @georgetown.k12.ma.us, which is a lot to type, so that takes practice to type that in, particularly for the younger students. The older students know it. And we use the same login for all of our software programs, all of our programs. So your children should not be sharing their login information or their passwords. And that will stay the same through high school. Let's see. I can show the rubric again. So when you get the information on Wednesday, I think by the end of the week, you should try to log in just to make sure you can log in and you can help your child log in to classroom. But again, you'll get that information from your classroom teachers. And I'm going to review how to take a picture and upload it, like the Lego fruit example. Let's see, why don't I demo a little more, and then I'll refer to those questions. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, so someone asked, whoops, sample class. So I'll go back into my sample class, always go to classwork and the rubric. So I'll show you that, and then I'll go to the uploading a fruit picture. So the rubric is here. So the students can look at the rubric, and once they're logged in as themselves. So this was just a cute sample one that I created the other night. So when I taught letter writing, the students had to have a date, a greeting, the body of the letter, the closing, and then a signature. And so this was the rubric. And so students know that they could check, do they have all these parts of the letter or of the assignment? So that is the rubric that teachers would likely be using. And then again, they type the letter in here, and they refer to their rubric. And when let me see if I could, later I'll show you what it looks like from the teacher's end. Okay, so we'll go back to building a fruit. So again, I'll be holding makerspace classes during library classes on Mondays of every week. So we might be doing an activity like this. So let me view the assignment. So in this one, you can see there's no attached document. There's no Google form or anything to fill out. You're going to do an activity, maybe draw something or build something, and then take a picture of it. And that's what you want to add. So if you take a picture, if you have an iPad, that's easy. I mean, we have so many devices that you could take a picture with. So I have a picture on my phone, and so I'm going to go to my photos, and I have a picture. It's not even of a fruit, but I just took a picture today of something that was on my desk. So then I'm going to share the picture, the square with the up arrow. And if you come over, I don't know if you can see it, if you scroll over, you can see that you can share directly to Classroom. Let's see if we can see that you can share directly with Classroom or to Google Drive. So once the file, I tend to put it, I've done it both. I've shared it directly with Google Classroom, but you can also just put it on your Google Drive, and I'll be covering that shortly. So I'm going to share this one with Classroom. And it might ask you, again, you want to verify the account. You can, and make sure it's putting it on the right Classroom account. And then I'm also going to put it on Drive. So there's a whole list of where you can share it to. And I'm going to click on Drive and my account, and it puts it immediately on Drive. Okay, so now I'll show you how to attach that. So you can have your work ready to go. You've built your Lego fruit, and then you take a picture of it, and now you're going to add it. So you click Add or Create, and I put it on Google Drive, but it could be another file that you put on your desktop. It can be anywhere. This would be a file that you put it on your computer, and I'm going to go right to Google Drive if I didn't put it into my Classroom. So inserting files. So it's going to show you the most recent files, or it's going to show you the files on your Drive. So you can think of Drive as just a place where all of your student work goes, whether it's images or documents or forms or anything, it will all go there. So we're looking at this sample students Drive, and you can see that it puts all the Classroom files in one folder. So these are all the different teachers, and this is sample class, so it organizes it. So this, I actually typed 2 letters here so you can see what they are. It also shows this picture here that I took. So if I click on that picture that's on my Drive, I could then insert it right into the assignment. So here's the assignment, and all I did was upload the picture to Drive or to Classroom, and then it's right here, and then I can turn it in. And so it's that simple. So once I turn it in, it says one attachment will be submitted for this assignment. I might have renamed this too, but that's not necessary. And that's it. So now I will go back to the home page. And now you can see that it's been turned in, it's turned gray, and it's right here. You can even attach multiple images. So if you wanted to, you could have attached multiple images. So those are the kinds of assignments that your children will have. Now, remember at the beginning, I mentioned that you will have multiple Google Classrooms. So if you click right here on the 3 lines, you can go to classes and it will return you to your classes. They were also in a list there. So if I want to go to physical education, because that's the special that you have that week. So this is Mr. Walsh's phys ed class for grade 4 at these times. And notice the stream is going to have the Google Classroom Zoom, how to join him. He shows the students what to do to warm up or what their activity is going to be, and he posted the schedule. So that's all in the stream. If you go to classwork, so right now most teachers haven't posted all of their assignments yet, but he does have warm-ups here. And he did a video of himself warming up. So the students would watch that video and they would know how to warm up at the beginning of this class and probably most classes. So they would just click on that video and watch that. You don't have to download it unless you wanted to. And then I would play this video of him. You can download it and you can put it right on your Google Drive. And again, always make sure you're signed in as yourself. And that would be it. Now, if you click here again on the three bars, this would be a list of all of the classes. So you would have your computer class or music class, library. Let's see, I don't think library has posted their classes yet, but this is their Zoom meeting. And nope, they haven't posted their classes yet, but teachers will start posting them tomorrow. Library has some good activities. All right, so let's see, I'll go back to my sample class. And now I want to show you here Google Drive. So Google Classroom is connected to Google Drive as well. And you can get to that a number of ways. They have a shortcut here to Google Drive and the calendar, but you can use the waffle as well to go to Google Drive. Either one works. So Google Drive is just a place that all of the files go to. So the picture is right here that I downloaded, and you can see the recent, these are the recent files that I opened up. And all of the classroom work is in a classroom folder by classroom. So if I go down to sample class, these would be the 2 letters. And if I didn't want this letter, I could delete this letter. I only attached this one. I think I attached this one and not that one. So you can always delete them here or leave them both there. Doesn't matter. So my drive. So there's not a lot on this student's drive yet, but these are everything on that student's drive. A teacher or probably a teacher, or I might share a document with the student, or you might all collaboratively work on an assignment. So sometimes there'll be something shared with me in here that someone else gave you access to or shared with you, but that's really for the older students. So everything would be in your drive. So you have to kind of get used to working with multiple tabs. Classroom would be here, Drive would be here. Some teachers will use the Google Calendar as well. So you can go to the Google Calendar either from the waffle or directly from Classroom. So this was an assignment that had a due date. So notice, because that teacher put the due date in, it automatically put it on the student's calendar. So the due date is right there. Okay, and they would have all the due dates for all of their teachers' calendars if they wanted to. And so they are all listed here. If you didn't want to see, I can just, I can't scroll down. Oh, if I didn't want to see the assignments for sample class, I could turn it off and turn it back on. It's an overlay that sits on the calendar. So I'm not sure which classes are going to use the calendar, but it's all nicely linked here through Google Classroom. So you know where everything is, every document that you make is on Google Drive, and whether or not you go through Classroom, and every assignment that has a due date, like this one, due September 18th, will be posted on the calendar. But really the thing to become most familiar with, I think, is the classwork in the Google Classroom. Let's see. Oh, Guardian. I wanted to mention that. I didn't want to forget the Guardian. If teachers put under people, they will have all of your students listed, and your students will join the class for the first time. But they will get an invitation to join that class when they log in. So when they log into Google Classroom and they go to all classes, this might be an invite to say, ask me if I want to join Mr. Fanning's music class, if I want to join Mrs. McDonald's computer class, if I want to join any of these. They just have to join once at the beginning of the year, and that's it. And then they're part of those classrooms. So the first time you log in into Classroom, you will have all these invites here, and you just accept all the invites. So minimally, you should have 5 specialists and a classroom teacher, and you might have more. And then on that list, you will receive an invitation as a guardian. Once you're sent that, it doesn't have to be a Gmail account, it can be any email account. And once you're sent that guardian invitation, that will come to your email, whatever email you have given the teachers or the school. And you will get that invite, and then you will just accept the invite. And you could control whether you receive weekly, daily, monthly, or no updates. Maybe you don't want updates. And the weekly update is really more of a summary, and it's coming to your email address, not your child's Google address, school address. And you get a weekly summary of what's upcoming, any missing work, and any new posts. So it's really just to see that the work is being done, or many assignments are missing. I get that. I have my youngest daughter is a senior in high school, and they use this, and I get weekly reports, so I know whether or not she's done her assignments for the week. Let's see, just checking my list here. I think that's most of Classroom. Let me stop sharing. And oh, there's some more people. Let's see. So I'm going to look at the chat again to see if I can answer some of these questions. If we do run out of time, I will answer these questions and post the answers probably on our website. Let's see. So are we able to drop off a tablet? I'll deal with that. I'll talk to Colin about that. The apps that you need, though, your teachers will indicate that, but for now, I think what you need are the Google apps, like Google Drive, Classroom, Docs, maybe Slides. But your teacher will give you a list of what has to be downloaded, and they should all be free. Another good question, will students transitioning between the years be added to the new classrooms automatically? They will not be added automatically. We archive our classes in Google Classroom, and then each teacher with their new class list invites the new student, their new classroom of students. So that's not done automatically. for this one, so I will get back to you about that one. So some people, I don't know about posting the assignments for the whole week. So that's, I don't know if Colin wants to say anything about that. But we'll discuss these and then post answers to these. Let's see. Okay, so Mr. Belanger sent the logins last week. So he did send the logins to the students last week via email. So you may very well have their login and their password. Cheryl Lashendro is mentioning it might be in the junk mail folders, but I know every student has an account because I've uploaded them into some other databases as well that we use. Classroom is set up for all of the students. The teachers may not have posted the assignment yet, but everything is set up for all of the students. So parents do not have a separate login. You can log in with your child's, with their child's Georgetown credentials, but you can get a separate summary. So you can get the separate summary. Are there samples of correct letter formatting? I can send those. That was from a few years back when I used to teach letter writing. The students love writing letters. I had them write letters to former teachers or other people. The iPads provided by the schools do allow students to take photos, so that's fine. You can take photos. So you don't have to be logged into the kids account. That's a good question. Do you have to be logged into a kids account in order to share the picture directly to Google Classroom? You would, to share it to Google Classroom, you would have to be logged in to Google Classroom. Yes, to share it directly to the classroom. I'd like to be able to log in. So if you want to log in to the class before Wednesday, if you don't have your login, you can email the teacher or me. I can get you the login. And my email is fravelm@georgetown.k12.ma.us. Great question. Can everyone see your Google Drive or is it private? No one can see that Google Drive outside of Georgetown. And no one can see it unless they're logged in. Right, Colin? Oh, let me unmute him. Sorry. I'm asking Colin questions and I didn't unmute him. Sorry.
I'm here. Yeah, so Google Drive is private to the student unless there's a file that student has shared with someone else, right, using the shared feature for Google Drive. Also want to mention that we do have a service called Gaggle that does monitor everything that happens in our Google interface. So student emails, student docs, student slides and forms and all of that. So that's monitored by something called Gaggle, and that just makes sure that everything's on the up and up and appropriate. But if it's within a student's drive and it is not shared with anyone, it is a private drive. I hope that answers the question.
And they can't share with just anyone outside of Georgetown either.
Correct. Yeah, there are different permissions for what students can and cannot share. I think at Pembroke, you're only allowed to share within our domain. It's not until you get to the middle high school that you're able to share things with people outside of our Georgetown domain. It's just for safety's sake.
Correct. And then last year's classes, will they still be on the students' classroom? I believe we archived them all, so they should not be there.
Correct.
This will not look differently for sixth graders. It's all going to look the same. However, with sixth graders, teachers might use, there's a feature that checks for, what is that feature? It checks that you're not plagiarizing. So the sixth grade, we might run some of their writing through the plagiarism check. So that's really for the older students.
And
I
sixth grade will also have, they will have different classrooms for the different content areas and teachers that they have. So a second grader will have just their teacher's classroom as well as their specialist classrooms. Sixth graders will have a classroom for each of the content areas that if they were in the building, they would move from class to class with. So they'll have a few more classrooms to toggle between, but if they follow that schedule, should be no problem.
And then do students need keyboards for the iPads? You don't necessarily, if they're typing a lot, you might want to have a keyboard, but not necessarily. Students are really good with the iPad keyboards, in my opinion, when I see them. They even practice keyboarding with that keyboard. So I don't think it's critical. If they're typing long essays, you might want one. So
Just so the iPads that we have for devices for people that have requested, they are not, we're not assigning keyboards to those as well. You can see we're getting them all boxed up and ready to go over there. So if you do, I have had a few parents email me and say, I'd like to get a keyboard on my own. What would you recommend? The iPads that we're loaning out, they all have the Lightning port. So if you're looking for a keyboard that hardwires into the computer or to the iPad, you'd want a keyboard with a Lightning port. Or if you just go on Amazon, there are a lot of good and relatively inexpensive Bluetooth enabled keyboards that will work fine with all of these iPads. You just have to set up that Bluetooth connection if you've done that in your car or with a smart speaker or something like that. It's very similar to doing that. So if you want to go that route on your own, you're welcome to, and that's what I would recommend.
yeah, that's good. Grades. You actually won't be able to see the grades. Once it's graded, you can see the graded assignments through Classroom, but you're not going to see their grade, for math or something. I just want to make that clear that that you cannot see that, but you can see the grade on corrected assignments in Classroom. If you're having trouble with the login, you could contact me or the teacher. The teachers have all the logins, and so that's where to go for that. Let's see.
Marianne, could you just type your email address in the chat for everyone real quick so they can copy and paste it?
Oh. Oh.
Yep, got it. Oh, no, that was just to me.
Yep, I got to send it to everyone. Do I just put all in here?
It should say everyone in meeting. There should be.
Oh, I see it. It's up at the top. Everyone in meeting. Do that again. There's my email, and I can help log in students as well. I think that was all of the questions here. So our teachers have been using this for some of them for a long time and some of them for 6 months. So you can go to them with questions about Google Classroom as well. So, but I'm always here. So this one parent Zoom account. You don't need, they don't need a Zoom account to have students using it at potentially the same time, right? You're using when they click on our invitation, it's not their Zoom account, it's ours.
Correct. And as far as I understand from the Zoom rep that works with Georgetown, I brought up whether or not we needed student accounts, and they said no. If the student has the link to the Zoom meeting, they should be able to log into Zoom without needing their own Zoom account.
Correct. And then this is a good question. Will you be expected to print a lot at home? The whole point, I think, of Google Classroom is to get away from that. I notice the teachers who have been using it historically have a lot less handouts, a lot less copying and printing. There will be some, I would imagine, but I think that this cuts it down.
The other thing that I'll mention, especially in the primary grades, the lower grades, that if there are things that require students to handwrite something and to turn it in, we I know that like a lot with the meet and greets today, packets were handed out, and we can have kind of drop boxes at the school if there are physical copies of things that a teacher passes out that need to be handed back physically and not uploaded to Google Classroom. That can happen since right now we're not at like a stay-at-home order like we were in March and April. We can invite people to come and drop things off if there are physical things that need to be turned in. But yeah, like Marianne said, the more that we can utilize Google Classroom and go paperless, the better.
I think that's it. I think I answered most of the questions.
That's great.
Um,
Marianne, I think if you hit the 3 little dots in next to the chat and click Save Chat, you should be able to save any questions that we didn't get to or that may have slipped through the cracks, and we can
oh,
review
let me
those.
find that. I have. Oh, I see it.
There it is.
I haven't done that. Save chat.
Yes. Thank you, Marianne, so much. I'm sorry that I had to slip away for the majority of what you walked parents through, but thank you for showing people kind of the nuts and bolts of Google Classroom. I just want to say that to all the parents on this call that this is new to all of us. Us included. Remote learning in this fashion is far different than it was in the spring. It's far different than what we're used to doing and what we would like to do, which is having your children in front of us and working with them and leaning down right next to them and helping them through their work. So the last thing I want to say is we've done 2 weeks of professional development here. We have trained our teachers. We have worked with parents and tried to be as transparent as possible. And even having done all of that, I feel pretty confident in knowing that it's not going to run 100% perfectly starting Wednesday. And I think it's important that we all just understand that and we all be able to work with each other and be flexible and be accommodating. And I know that we're going to do that on our end. And I would ask that you just work with us in trying to iron out any kinks or find the bugs and work them out. Right? We debug our program when we're working in Project Lead the Way, and we are constantly debugging our code. We're going to have to debug what remote learning looks like and any hiccups that come up along the way. So we're all doing the absolute best we can. We feel as prepared as we possibly can be. But if we've learned anything in the last 6 months is that we can't anticipate everything. So I'm just going to leave it at that and ask that we all work on this together and be teams, like teammates, and we'll help you out as much as we can. So if you don't see any other questions, Marianne, I'm okay to say farewell to everybody and thank them for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.